You know what's exhausting? Trying to live 3 days at once. Yesterday, replaying it, regretting it, wishing you'd done it differently. Tomorrow, planning it, worrying about it, trying to control it before it even arrives. And today? Today gets lost in the shuffle. We call this normal. We call it being responsible or thinking ahead. But the Buddha called it something else, the root of suffering. Because here's the truth most of us forget. Life only happens now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, now. And all that overthinking, it's stealing your only real possession, this present moment. Today we're going to explore how to stop abandoning the now and start trusting the flow of life as it actually unfolds. Part 1. A Zen story, the monk and the wild horse. There's an old Zen story about a young monk who was desperately trying to tame a wild horse. Every day he would enter the pen with ropes, strategies, and determination. He studied the horse's movements. He planned his approach. He visualized success. And every day, the horse threw him off. Bruised and exhausted, the young monk finally approached his master. "Master," he said, "I've tried everything. I've used every technique. Why won't this horse submit to me?" The master smiled gently and asked, "Have you tried not trying?" The young monk was confused. "But if I don't try, how will I ever succeed?" The master led him back to the pen, but this time he instructed him simply to sit, not to plan, not to strategize, just to be with the horse. For days, the monk simply sat in the pen. At first, his mind raced with plans and judgments. This is a waste of time. I should be doing something. What if this never works? But gradually, his thoughts began to settle. Like muddy water left undisturbed, his mind became clear. And something remarkable happened. The horse, no longer sensing force or agenda, began to approach. Curious, calm. Within a week, the monk was riding the horse. Not because he had conquered it, but because he had stopped fighting it. The master later told him, "The horse was never your enemy. Your own grasping mind was." Part 2. The Mind Garden. What you feed grows. This story points to something profound, something the Buddha taught over 2,500 years ago. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. Think of your mind as a garden. Every thought you entertain is a seed. Every emotion you dwell on is water and sunlight. If you plant seeds of fear, what if I fail? What if they don't like me? What if everything falls apart? Then fear is what will bloom. If you water panic, if you give sunlight to worry, your inner landscape becomes a jungle of anxiety. But here's the beautiful truth. You are the gardener. You may not control every seed that lands in your mind. Life will throw in weeds of doubt, storms of uncertainty. But you do control what you choose to nurture. Let me share a story that might feel familiar. Sarah is a marketing manager in New York, successful by all external measures. But every Sunday evening, like clockwork, her mind begins its weekly ritual. Did I send that email? What if the client hated my proposal? I have so much to do tomorrow. I should prepare. Wait, did I say the wrong thing in that meeting? Everyone probably thinks I'm incompetent. Her chest tightens. Her breathing becomes shallow. She opens her laptop, not because she needs to work, but because the anxiety demands action. She spends 3 hours working, but really just rearranging tasks, checking emails that don't need checking, and planning conversations that haven't happened yet. By 11 p.m. she's exhausted, but no more at peace than at 8 p.m. Why? Because she was feeding the panic. She was watering the weeds. One evening, after months of this pattern, Sarah had a moment of clarity. She was sitting there, heart racing, laptop open, and she suddenly noticed what she was doing. She wasn't solving problems, she was creating them. She paused, closed the laptop, and whispered to herself, "This worry is not real. This moment is." She placed her hand on her heart, felt her breath, looked around her actual room, safe, quiet, enough. The thoughts didn't disappear, but something had shifted. She was no longer in them, she was witnessing them. As the Buddha said, "You are not your thoughts, you are the awareness behind them." That one moment of presence, of stepping back from the mental storm, began Sarah's transformation. Not because everything in her life changed, but because she stopped watering the panic and started nurturing the peace. Part 3. Resistance is suffering. Flow is freedom. The second noble truth of Buddhism teaches us suffering arises from attachment and resistance. Let's pause here, because this teaching is both simple and revolutionary. Think about it. When are you most stressed? Usually it's not when life is simply happening. It's when life is happening differently than you wanted. The traffic is slow. Resistance. The promotion didn't come through. Resistance. Someone criticized you. Resistance. Your body is aging. Resistance. The weather ruined your plans. Resistance. We suffer not because of the event itself, but because of our fight against it. Look at nature. Watch how a tree behaves in a storm. The rigid oak fights the wind and sometimes breaks. But bamboo? Bamboo bends. It flows with the force rather than against it. And when the storm passes, it stands tall again. Nature doesn't resist its seasons. The river doesn't argue with the mountain. The flower doesn't refuse to bloom just because it might wilt. Life has a natural rhythm. Suffering comes when we demand a different song. Modern example, Marcus and the delayed flight. Marcus had been planning his daughter's birthday trip for 6 months. The flights were booked. The hotel is reserved. The itinerary is perfected. Then, 2 hours before departure, flight cancelled. Mechanical issue. Marcus felt his jaw clench. His mind immediately jumped into combat mode. This is unacceptable. I paid for this. They ruined everything. My daughter will be heartbroken. This always happens to me. He spent 40 minutes arguing with gate agents who couldn't change reality. His blood pressure is rising. His family is watching him unravel. Then his 7-year-old daughter tugged his sleeve. "Daddy, can we get ice cream while we wait?" In that moment, something cracked open. He looked at her innocent face, not upset, not ruined, just present. And he realized the flight was delayed. His peace didn't have to be. He took a breath, smiled, said yes to the ice cream. They ended up spending the evening playing games at the airport, laughing, making memories he never would have planned. The flight took off the next morning. They still made the trip. But more importantly, Marcus learned something. Peace isn't found in controlling outcomes. It's found in accepting what is. As the great Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh taught, letting go gives us freedom, and freedom is the only condition for happiness. Part 4. The illusion of control. The cage we build. Now let's talk about the deepest root of overthinking, the need for control. We live in a culture that worships control. Plan everything, optimize everything, control your career, your body, your relationships, your future. And when things don't go according to plan, we think we just need more control, better planning, tighter grip. But here's what the Buddha understood. The tighter you grip sand, the more it slips through your fingers. The 3 types of control and why they all fail. 1. Control over the past. replaying conversations, regretting choices. If only I had said this, done that. You cannot change what has already happened, yet we torture ourselves trying. 2. Control over the future, planning every detail, preparing for every possibility. What if this happens? I need to be ready for everything. The future hasn't arrived. It exists only in imagination, yet we exhaust ourselves trying to control it. 3. Control over others, trying to manage how people think, feel, or behave. If they would just listen to me, do what I say, see things my way. Other people have their own paths, their own karma, yet we drain our energy trying to write their stories. What we actually control, the sacred small. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus, whose wisdom aligns beautifully with Buddhism, taught, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." You cannot control whether you get sick, whether people like you, whether your plans succeed, whether life is fair. You can control your breath in this moment, your response to difficulty, the kindness you offer, the thoughts you feed, the presence you bring. That's it. And paradoxically, that's everything. Modern example, Jennifer's perfect life project. Jennifer was a perfectionist. Her home was immaculate. Her schedule was optimized. Her children's activities were carefully curated for maximum development. She meal prepped on Sundays. She responded to emails within an hour. She maintained a detailed budget spreadsheet. From the outside, she had it all together. From the inside, she was dying. Every day was a battle against chaos. Every unexpected event, a sick child, a forgotten appointment, a critical comment, felt like a personal failure. She couldn't understand why, despite doing everything right, she felt so anxious, so exhausted, so empty. Until one Tuesday afternoon, when everything fell apart. Her youngest got sent home from school with a fever. Her presentation at work got moved up a day. Her husband forgot to pick up groceries. The washing machine broke. Jennifer stood in her kitchen, soggy laundry at her feet, and just broke. She cried, deep, heaving sobs. And in that moment of complete surrender, something unexpected happened. Peace. Not the peace of having everything under control, the peace of finally admitting she never did. Her neighbor came over, helped with the laundry, and made her tea. Her husband ordered pizza, imperfect, unplanned, delicious. Her daughter recovered by morning. The presentation went fine despite less preparation. Life continued. And Jennifer learned what the Buddha taught. In the end, only 3 things matter: how much you loved, how gently you lived, and how gracefully you let go of things not meant for you. Before we continue, I want to invite you into something. If this message is resonating with you, if you're feeling something shift inside, I encourage you to subscribe to the Buddha Coha channel. This isn't just about collecting subscribers, it's about building a community, a sangha of people committed to waking up, to healing, to living with more peace and less struggle. Every video we create is designed to help you return to yourself, to remember what matters, to walk the path with a little more light. So, if that speaks to you, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and let's walk this path together. Now, let's continue. Part 5. The Practice. How to let go and flow. Understanding is beautiful, but Buddhism is not a philosophy, it's a practice. So how do we actually do this? How do we stop overthinking and start flowing? Practice 1. The sacred pause. When you notice your mind spinning, worrying, planning, ruminating, pause, just for 3 breaths. Don't try to fix anything. Don't try to think better thoughts. Just breathe. Breathe in. I am here. Breathe out. This moment is enough. This simple pause interrupts the automatic cycle. It creates space between stimulus and response. As Viktor Frankl said, between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. Practice 2. Name the mental weather. The Buddha taught us to observe our mental states without judgment. When anxiety arises, instead of fighting it or becoming it, simply note, anxiety is here. Fear is visiting. The planning mind is active. You're not your weather, you're the sky. Clouds come and go, the sky remains. Practice 3. The 3 questions. When overthinking strikes, ask yourself, 1. Is this thought about the past or the future? If yes, it's not about now. Gently return to the present. 2. Is this thought useful? If it's leading to constructive action, great. If it's just spinning, let it go. 3. Is this thought true? Often our worries are stories, not facts. Question them. Practice 4. Trust the unfolding. This is perhaps the most challenging and most liberating practice. Every morning set an intention. Today I will do my best, and trust the rest. Do what's yours to do with full presence and effort. Then let go of the outcome. Plant the seed, water it, give it sunlight. But don't dig it up every hour to see if it's growing. Trust the process. As Lao Tzu wrote in the Tao Te Ching, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Part 6. The deeper truth. What overthinking really is. Let's go deeper now. Why do we overthink? On the surface, it seems practical. I'm just trying to solve problems. I'm being responsible. I'm preparing. But underneath, there's usually something else. Fear. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of loss. Fear of not being enough. Overthinking is often the mind's way of trying to protect us from an uncertain future. It's a control strategy born from a nervous system that doesn't feel safe. Buddhism teaches that suffering comes from 3 root poisons. 1. Greed, grasping for what we want. 2. Hatred, pushing away what we don't want. 3. Delusion, misunderstanding reality. Overthinking is primarily delusion. Specifically, the delusion that we can think our way to safety, that we can mentally control life. But here's the liberating truth. You were never meant to carry the weight of the entire universe in your mind. You are not responsible for controlling every outcome. You are responsible for showing up with presence, with kindness, with effort. The rest? That's life's job. The Buddha once said, if you have a problem that can be solved, there is no need to worry. If you have a problem that cannot be solved, there is no use in worrying. Read that again. Let it land. Either you can do something, in which case, do it and release the worry. Or you can't do anything, in which case, worry only adds suffering to difficulty. Worry never solves, it only exhausts. Part 7. Life as river, the metaphor that changes everything. Let's return to where we began, the river. A river doesn't overthink. When it meets a rock, it doesn't stop and panic. It doesn't create a committee to analyze the best path. It simply flows around. When the path narrows, it doesn't resist, it flows faster. When it reaches a cliff, it doesn't fear the fall. It becomes a waterfall, powerful, beautiful, inevitable. The river trusts its nature. And what is its nature? To flow toward the ocean. Not quickly, not slowly, just naturally. Your nature, already whole. Here's what Buddhism wants you to understand. You are not broken. You are not a problem to be solved. You are not incomplete. You are, in your deepest nature, already whole, already Buddha nature, already peace, already enough. Overthinking is what happens when we forget this, when we believe we need to become something we're not, when we think we need to control life to earn our worthiness. But you don't need to become the ocean, you already are. You just need to stop pretending you're a separate drop. The Buddha often used the lotus flower as a teaching. The lotus grows in muddy water. It's rooted in muck and darkness, yet it rises and blooms in breathtaking beauty. It doesn't reject the mud. It doesn't overthink the journey from bottom to surface. It simply grows according to its nature. Your difficulties, your uncertainties, your messy life, that's the mud. Your peace, your growth, your awakening, that's the lotus. One doesn't exist without the other. Stop fighting the mud. Let it nourish your blooming. Part 8. Living examples. People who let go and flew. Throughout history, the people who've made the greatest impact weren't those who controlled everything. They were those who surrendered to something larger. The artist who stops forcing the painting and lets it emerge. The entrepreneur who releases the need for certainty and trusts the vision. The parent who stops trying to control their child's every choice and offers love instead. The healer who knows they cannot fix everyone but shows up with presence anyway. A contemporary story, David and the business that almost wasn't. David spent 2 years planning his business. Market research, business plan, financial projections, contingency plans for contingency plans. But when it was time to launch, he froze. What if it fails? What if I lose everything? What if people think it's stupid? He delayed, revised, overthought, until his mentor asked him, "Are you trying to build a business or trying to guarantee success?" David was confused. "Aren't they the same thing?" "No," his mentor said. "One is action, one is control. You can't have both." David realized he was waiting for certainty that would never come, so he made a choice. Launch scared, do the work, trust the process, let go of the outcome. He launched. It wasn't perfect. Some things worked, some didn't, but he was alive in a way he hadn't been in years. Not because everything went according to plan, but because he was finally in the river, flowing, adjusting, trusting. 5 years later, his business is thriving. But more importantly, he is thriving because he learned what the Buddha taught. Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. Part 9. The invitation. Your life is waiting. So here we are. You've listened to stories. You've heard the teachings. You've felt something stir. Now comes the real question. What will you do with this? Will this just be another interesting video you watch and forget? Or will this be the moment you choose differently? Imagine waking up tomorrow without the heavy weight of overthinking. Imagine moving through your day present, really present, to the people you love, the work you do, the life you're actually living. Imagine feeling challenges arise, and instead of spiraling, simply breathing, responding, trusting. Imagine going to bed not replaying every mistake, but grateful for the gift of another day. This isn't fantasy. This is available to you. Not by changing your circumstances, by changing your relationship to them. The practice starts now. You don't need to wait until you've read all the books or attended all the retreats. You don't need to become enlightened before you can experience peace. You start where you are. Right now, as you listen to these words, you have a choice. Will you feed the overthinking or the presence? Will you grip or flow? Will you resist or trust? Let's take a moment together. Wherever you are, gently close your eyes if it's safe to do so. Take a deep breath in and out. Place one hand on your heart. Feel it beating, this miracle of life that continues without your control, without your worry, without your overthinking. Say to yourself, I release what I cannot control. I trust the unfolding of my life. I am enough, exactly as I am, right now. Breathe that in. Let it be true. Open your eyes when you're ready. If this message has touched you, I want to ask you to do 3 things. First, subscribe to Buddha Coha. Let's continue this journey together. Let's build a community of people who choose presence over panic, flow over force. Second, share this video with someone who needs it. You know who they are, the person who's always stressed, always planning, always in their head. Send them this. It might be exactly what they need to hear today. Third, practice just one thing from today. The sacred pause, the 3 questions, the morning intention. Don't try to change everything, just let one seed take root. The river doesn't overthink its journey to the ocean. The lotus doesn't worry about blooming. The bamboo doesn't fear the storm. And you don't need to carry the weight of the world in your mind. Life flows naturally when you let go, not because you give up, but because you wake up to the truth that you were never separate from the flow. You are the river. You are the lotus. You are the sky that holds all weather. And in your deepest nature, you are already free. The only question is, will you remember? As the Buddha said in his final teaching, be a light unto yourself. You don't need to figure everything out. You just need to show up. Present, open, trusting, and let life flow. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for walking this path. Until next time, breathe easy, dear friend. The river knows the way.